Welcome everybody, this is Chris Cox for a Deep Purple guitar lesson. Today we're going to go over Woman from Tokyo. I love some Ritchie Blackmore. So the tuning for this song is going to be a standard tuning. So let's go ahead and go over that intro riff. So it starts off like this. Okay, so we're first going to start just with a quick muted one pluck on the low E. We go. Now, I'm doing a hybrid picking. And hybrid picking means you're using your pick and your fingers. So I'm plucking the D and the G, and it sounds like from the recording that might be how Ritchie is doing it as well. But you can strum it if you want to strum, or you can pluck, and that's going to be your pick and your middle finger. So you're basically going to put your middle finger on the second fret of the D, third finger on the second fret of the G, and let's go ahead and anchor that first finger on the first fret of the G. We hit the low E, and then stop it. And you're going to pull off from the second fret of the G to the first fret of the G, so we get a... Okay, so we have this so far. The only things different about that part is going to be, so you're going to pluck this second fret of the D and G one time, and then you're going to play second fret of the D and first fret of the G one time. Then we're going to shift up here to the A string, second fret, and D string, and play those two strings together. So we have this. And then this little lick. And that's going to be an open A, and you're going to hammer on to the second fret of the A. So we have that much, and then we're going to hit the open D. And then you're going to take your whammy bar and shake it a little bit. So slowly sounds like this. Repeats again. Now we do this. Okay, so that little perfect fourth interval we played up here at the second fret, we're just going to play that all the way down the fretboard. So we're going to start on and this is the A and D string we're plucking. So second fret of the A and D, go to the third fret of the A and D, fourth fret of the A and D, and then to the fifth fret of the A and D. So it sounds like this. Hold that again. So far we have okay. Then we're going to play this riff. It's going to go. Okay, so we're basically again hitting the open E, kind of muted, and then I'm going to hit the E note on the D string, which is the second fret. And then you're going to play open D, and you're going to hammer back onto the E, so it sounds like this. We pause. Pause again. Another pause. Then we have this lick. And that's going to be, you're going to start here on the third fret of the high E, and then you're going to play fifth fret of the B, third fret of the B, and that's going to be a pull off. So you're going to pull off two times. You're pulling off from the fifth to the third, and then from the third to an open string. And then you're going to hit the B and high E string together, and then use your whammy bar to run. So that's going to be open, low E, first fret of the low E, second fret of the low E, third fret of the low E, and then we're going to grab down here on the third fret of the B string. We're going to pluck the open G and B together. You're going to get that. So it's and then we're going to switch up to our first finger on the first fret of the B string, and we're still playing open G. We're fretting on the first fret of the B, so we have. Then we're doing a. So I'm again using the hybrid picking, but you can just strum if you want to do it that way. But it's going to be open G, third fret of the B, open G, first fret of the B, and then you're going to hammer on back to this D note on the third fret of the B. So we have this. Back to the G, so that's the third fret on the low E, and then we're going to go so we're doing a third fret of the B, first fret of the B, still playing the open G, and then we're going to back to the G. So it sounds like this. Back to the G, and then we're doing a, that's going to be two pull-offs. So instead of just pulling off from the third fret of the B to the first fret of the B, we're doing a, and then you're going to pull off at the first fret to the open B. So it's back to the G, and then we play this lick. So it's, and that's just going to be a hammer-on from the third fret of the A. So third fret to the fifth fret of the A, ending on the third fret of the D. And then we're going to slide down, and that slide is going to be from the fifth fret of the A to the seventh fret of the A, and then we're ending on the fifth fret of the D. So we have, here comes our first fill. Okay, so that first fill is going to be a bend. We're on the 15th fret of the B. We're going to bend up and go. So we're bending up, but we're coming back down to the original note. So bend full step up. So we have a bend, back down to the 15, and then we shift to the 12. And that's going to be that's a bend from the 14th fret of the G. And you can see how I'm kind of bending up and then pulling off to the 12th fret. So we have, and we're kind of scooping that, so it's like on those last two notes. And you know, Ritchie has kind of a real aggressive vibrato. It's smooth, but it's fast, so it's. So you may have to kind of, I'm not great at it, so. Okay, so now we're going to go on over to the second verse, which is real similar. We play that same riff. Goes to the G. Same riff. Same again, pull off. So here we're going to hold and we're going to go. Play that again. That's a little, the second fill. So Ritchie does a lot of these little guitar fills in this song. They're very buried in the mix because the keyboard is up high, so you kind of have to listen closely. But right before we go back into the main riff again, we play that fill. So that's going to be open G. You're going to fret on the third fret of the B and high E. Let those ring. Go 2 frets down. Play the open G again. That's going to be the 5th fret of the B and high E. And Then we're going to shift down to the 8th fret of the B, 7th fret of the high E, and still play in the open G. And then you're going to keep this note fretted, so this is a B note. And just slide all the way down the neck. And then we're going to go to the 3rd fill. Okay, so that is real similar to the first one we did, but we're doing a, so you're doing a, bend on the 15th of the B, and then you're grabbing the 12th fret of the high E. So you're going to come back to the 15th fret, bend up, 12th fret, come back to the 15th fret of the B, so we have, and that's going to be a partial bend on the 14th fret of the G, and you're doing, and it's again that kind of that scooping that he does. And you're going to pull off as you're coming down off of that. So you're bending up, pull off to the 12, land on the 14th fret of the D, 14th fret of the G, 12th fret of the G, back to the 14th fret of the D. So we have this. And I should say, right before you finish on that E note on the 14th fret of the D, you're going to do a half bend here on the G note on the 12th fret of the G. So it's slowly. Okay, so we're going through now. After this part, there's a kind of a bridge part that is a lot of organ. You can, you can hear the bass really well. Can't really hear the guitar too well in this, but you can follow along with what the bass is doing, or you can chord along. But I'm going to kind of show you the notes here. So the bass is going. That's just a G note, 3rd fret of the low E, and then shifting to the F. So if you wanted to just hit a G chord and let that ring, and then go to the F and just kind of drone back and forth during that part, you can. That goes back and forth, I believe, from the G to the F about 6 times. On the 6th time, it comes back to the a C power chord, or just a C note there on the 3rd fret. So that's 3rd fret of the A, 5th fret of the D, and then does an A sharp, and that's going to be 1st fret of the A and 3rd fret of the D. So this is just you just kind of being able to play along with what's going on with the organ, because the organ's playing all the melodies. Now there's a little climb at the very end, which is just the G major scale. So it goes. The G major scale, then you've already got that lick. So if we're going to play it, we can play it there, but I'm going to show it to you all on the low E string. So it's going to be 3rd fret of the low E, 5th fret of the low E, 7th fret of the low E, 8th fret of the low E, 10th fret of the low E, 12th fret of the low E, 14th fret of the low E, and then we end on G at the 15th fret of the low E. So we have. So it's just the G major scale played all on the low E. So we're playing that same riff again. Pretty much the same chording that we learned before. We have this. It's another fill. How many fills we're into now? Quite a few. So, it's basically what we're doing here is a pull off. And that's going to start on the 5th fret of the G, and we're pulling off from 5 to 3 to open. And then you're going to grab the second fret of the D and pull down from that, and you get an open D. And then we're going to do a, pull off back and forth from the 5th fret of the G to the 4th fret of the G to an open G. So it's, and that's just like we did before. We followed it all the way down. So that's going to be hammer on, pull off, 5th fret, hammer on, pull off, 4th fret, hammer on, pull off, 5th fret, hammer on, pull off, 4th fret, and then we're going to do a stay on the 5th fret, go to the 7th fret, and then fret, hammer back on it, fret on the 7th fret, and just fall all the way down. So third verse, we have some more guitar fills. So the first one's going to be, so when we get back into that main riff, we're going to hear a, and that's going to be a full bend on the 15th fret of the B. So, and then we're going to get this lick. So that's going to be a bend up on the 15th fret of the high E. So we're going again, same thing. So bend up, stop it, come back down to the 15th fret, finish on the 12th fret of the high E. And then we're doing that same scoop again. We're bending up and then pulling off to the 12th fret on the B. So this is 15th fret B, bend up, pull off to the 12th fret. So we have this. Okay, so we have this so far. We have then it goes, so it's a little half bend here on the 15th fret of the B string, and then ending on the high E. So we're doing a quick, you're going to basically transition from this 15th fret of the B to the 12th fret pretty fast, and then you're doing a, that's the last fill. So it's a bend up, it's like a half bend on the 14th fret of the G. And you're doing a little quick bend up, and then you're releasing the note down and you're pulling off. So it's, kind of like you're bending up, pluck it again, and then pull off. So that last part is that, so we're doing a bend up, bring it back down, pull off to the 14th fret of the D, 14th fret of the G, 12th fret of the G, bend, and on the 14th fret of the B. So we have in between, right before we're getting into the solo, we basically have a just a and that's just a B power chord. So that's 2nd fret of the A, 4th fret of the D. We have a to it A5. So that's just open A, first finger on the 2nd fret of the D, and then E5, which is 2nd finger on the A string, 2nd fret of the A string, and open E. So we have where you can just do a so this is right before the guitar solo. So that goes through, I believe, 3 times, but on the 4th time it's going to go shift to the C5 power chord, and that's where you're going to be playing basically everything is in the C minor pentatonic, I believe, in this solo. So we have, that's the first lick. So we have, so that's going to be the 10th fret of the G to the 12th fret of the G. You're going to pick all these, so down, up, 10, 12. We're going to grab the 11th fret of the B, back to the 10th fret of the G, and then in on the 12th fret of the G. So a little bit of vibrato. Then we go to this. So that's going to be basically, and again, I'm doing a hybrid picking thing, but you can pick this. So it's just a bend and like a half bend on the 10th fret of the G. And then you're barring here on the 8th fret of the B in high E. So and then you're doing another half bend here on the 10th fret of the G. And then you're grabbing the high E at the 8th fret. So this is the 11th fret of the B. You do a full bend up from there. So we have, okay. So let's play what we got so far. Okay, and then we're doing this again. It's basically the same riff. We're just, you know, kind of accenting differently on the last note. So we go. So I'm basically play the same lick again, a little half bend on the 10th fret of the G, bar across the 8th fret of the B and high E. So I'm kind of just bending up, up, back down, up, up. So it's kind of up, down, and then we end up. So, and then we're going to slide all the way down here to the 16th fret of the B and go, and that's just maybe a half bend because we're bending to this note here. So okay, so let's go through the whole solo again slowly.